Hello viewers, and welcome again to Discovering Truth, and I am Pastor Forbes from the Gateway Abiding Word Ministries here in the Gambia. We are grateful to God for all the festivities from Palm Sunday to Easter and the reality of the Hosanna cry for salvation and the Hallelujah cry for redemption. We now want to look at just something I want to share in two parts this week and next week that I think bears upon perception, reputation, character, and integrity. Perception, reputation, character, and integrity. And I'm going to read from the Bible, as always, from the Old Testament book of 1 Kings. A couple of books in the Bible are first and second. There is even one in the New Testament that's first, second, and third. That's the epistle of John, Yahya. But this one is 1 Kings because there is 1st and 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings. There is also 1st and 2nd Chronicles. And we are looking at 1 Kings chapter 10. Remember, our thoughts are on reputation, character, integrity, and perception. These are the words that are going on in my mind as I share with us what I believe will be helpful, or at the very least, it will stir up discussion for families, for companies, for institutions, and certainly for our nation as the larger component of our lives. So 1 Kings chapter 10 verse 1 says, "Now when the queen of Sheba heard of the fame of King Solomon concerning the name of the Lord God, she came to test him with hard questions. So she came to Jerusalem with a very large retinue, large convoy if you like, or large company. She came with camels that bore spices, very much gold." Remember, she was a queen herself. So she came with camels that carried spices, a lot of gold, precious stones. And when she came to King Solomon, she spoke to him about all the things that were in her heart. She counseled with him. She sought his advice. So Solomon answered all her questions. There was nothing so difficult for the king that he could not explain it to her. Verse 4. If you just joined us, 1 Kings in the Bible, chapter 10, we're reading verse 1 all the way to verse 9. Verse 4 says, "When the queen of Sheba had seen all the wisdom of Solomon," and I want to itemize them here. The wisdom of Solomon, she saw how it was displayed in the way he answered her questions. So number one, the wisdom of Solomon. Number two, the house that he built. Number three, the food on his table. Number four, the seating arrangement and pattern of his servants. Number five, the way his waiters served. Number six, their clothing, their apparel, their outfit, their look. Number seven, his cupbearers, his stewards. And number eight, the way even in which King Solomon himself went up into the house of the Lord. There was no more spirit in her. I think that will be translated in today's English to mean she was blown away. She was shell-shocked. What did she notice? Not only were her questions answered, but she took notice. I think in the legal fraternity, they'll say he took judicial notice. She took notice of his wisdom. So we are told that knowledge is acquisition of information. Wisdom is the how you bring it out. So she took notice of how he spoke, the wisdom with which he spoke, the discretion, the diplomacy, the tact, the logical sequence in which he spoke. Number two, the house that he built, probably the architecture, the symmetry. Who knows, maybe the color combination, the interior decoration. She took notice of that. Number two. Number three, the food on his table. I would want to suppose that that goes not just to the food itself, but even the presentation, the hardware. Who knows, maybe gold-plated, maybe platinum, who knows, silverware, aluminium. There was just something, and maybe the organization of it. So people didn't have to be stretching their hands to get things. She noticed, number four, even the way his servants sat, his orderlies, the way they sat. If they are males, that's the way they should sit. And certainly, if they are females, that's the way they must sit. She also took notice of the service of his waiters. As I just talked about, sometimes, unfortunately, you can go to an eating place like a restaurant, sometimes even some restaurants in some hotels, and somebody is crossing right across your face with food. And unfortunately, if she's female, sometimes she's probably wearing a dress which is sleeveless. So all the armpit and all the armpit hair is in your face, not to talk of the odor. And I believe, if I remember rightly, the little thing about serving is you go from right to left. I'm not sure. But there's protocol about it. There's organization and order. She noticed the way they serve. That means the excellence and the efficiency was in such a way that you had to notice it. You could not but notice it and observe it. The style, the organization. Who knows, if we go back to the sitting of the servants, maybe they even sat in manner of their height. So from the short one to the tall, there was symmetry, there was organization. So she noticed his wisdom, she noticed his house, she noticed the food, she noticed the way the servants sat, she noticed the way the waiters served, and she noticed their apparel, the organization, the dressing, the class, the creases, well ironed, everything looking proper. She also noticed the cup-bearers. Maybe they are well trimmed. Maybe their fingernails are manicured. There's something she noticed. And then finally, she even noticed the way the king came from maybe his chamber and walked down, and the way he walked up with elegance and grace and style and gracefulness. Almost, who knows, probably military precision, but with grace, like gliding as he was moving. When she noticed these 8 things, it says there was no more spirit in her. It's like her heart jumped out of her body. You know what she was saying? Is this possible? Can somebody be this effective? What a reputation. What character. What perception. Somebody once said, a great preacher, now gone to glory, once made a statement when he was preaching. He said, make sure you dress the way you want to be addressed. You will be addressed the way you dress. You will be treated the way you appear. You will be spoken to the way you speak. You will be honored if you present yourself in an honorable way. You will be respected and revered if you comport yourself in a way to be revered and to be respected. Dress the way you want to be addressed. Ladies and gentlemen, because I'm doing two parts, I'll go over this again and say some things. It says she noticed the wisdom with which he spoke, and she was not being political and being nice. Wisdom was coming from him, because we all know, if you read the Bible, you know that when Solomon asked God for help to be the king of Israel after David, his father, he asked for wisdom and he asked for a large heart. And God said, you have not asked for wealth, you have not asked for the neck of your enemies. I'm going to give you wisdom and a large heart and wealth and riches, so that there will nobody be like you before you or after you, nobody as wise and wealthy as you. So we know that he got divine wisdom from God. She noticed it. It was observable. She partook of its blessing. She felt it. Number one, the wisdom of Solomon. 2, the house that he was able to build. 3, the food on his table. 4, the seating arrangement and pattern of his servants. 5, the way they served food as waiters. 6, their apparel, their clothing, their costume. 7, the cupbearers, the way they were. And 8, even the way King Solomon himself moved. She noticed that. Ladies and gentlemen, there is one word that captures all this in my mind, and that's the word I want to share with us over these 2 weeks of this segment. And the word is intentionality. The word is intentionality. When you intentionally do something, you deliberately do something, you sit down and you plan and you design and you map out and you brainstorm and you think and you say, this is the way we want to be represented. This is the way we want to be responded to. This is the way we want people to see us. This is the way we want people to account us of. This is the way we want people to relate to us. This is our MO, our modus operandi or operandi. This is our style. This is our branding. This is our trademark. This is our logo. This is how we are going to be known everywhere, all the time, any day, anytime, any place. We are intentional about it. We are deliberate about it. We have no room to maneuver outside of this. We are not playing plan B. We are not playing second chance, because we understand that in life it is very difficult and mostly seldom impossible for you to create a first impression with a second chance, or for you to have a second chance and a second opportunity to make a first impression. What people see is how they judge you. What people see is what they go away with. Erroneously or otherwise, it's the first impression. And so for my life, for the things I count precious, for the way I want to be perceived, my reputation, my character, my person, I choose to be intentional. I must choose to be intentional. So I must be disciplined. I must put certain restraints upon me. I must go to my drawing board, go to the map, call my people, look at this, get everybody's buy-in, do 1 rehearsal, 2 rehearsals, 3 rehearsals, 4 rehearsals, second guess every possible contingency and every possible thing that can happen and beat it, go ahead of it, second guess it, plan for it, and be intentional about it. No excuses. When we have that as people, it may start as difficult. People resist organization. People resist structure. People like to fight it. But after some time, they see the benefit. Ladies and gentlemen, everything that is worthy of note and celebration and takes our breath away in this world, be it the opening ceremony of a football tournament globally, or the Olympics, or some Golden Globe Awards, or anything, massive conferences, symposia, any major thing, if it's worth its salt, and if it's worth its salt for long-term mention so that it goes viral and it becomes a pointer for what other people can aspire to, desire, and work hard to do, then there must be intentionality. There must be deliberateness. That is what the Queen of Sheba saw. She noted 8 qualitative characteristics. And I am saying that these things could not have happened ad hoc, haphazard, anyhow, somehow, like we say in Gambia, Bahnani Kendukogis. No. It's good the way it is. Nobody will notice. No. Or in my ethnic tongue, unalefa so nobody no go say, no matter. You're too fast. No. And I get tubab blue. Unalek for do like wait man. Now na gentry. No. That preacher said, dress the way you want to be addressed. There is a way you appear. There is a way you speak. And you are giving honor, regard, respect, even if there is no dime or butut or dalasi in your pocket. Because of the perception people have about you, followed by your reputation and your character. There is also a way you can appear and you'll be treated roughshod, manhandled. People will talk to you anyhow, touch you in inordinate ways, discount you. We dress the way we want to be addressed. So the questions start coming. As a person, how do you want to be addressed? As a family, as a business, as an institution, as a ministry, as a religious organization, all the way up to the top, our presidency, our legislature, the judiciary, yes, the judiciary, civil society, religious organizations, all of us put together, ministers of state, security sector, everybody. How do we want to be addressed? You know, ladies and gentlemen, no matter how small our country is, I keep always saying that our size is our advantage. What it takes to train any sector of our country for efficiency should be faster than nations that are 4 times, 5 times, 10 times, 20 times, 100 times bigger than us, just by economies of scale. So if we want to train security people in a particular thing, maybe military parade, and we need 1,000, it's easy. What would we say about a country like Nigeria, where there are 200 million people? We are just 2.4. So our size gives us the advantage for excellence, for efficiency, for class, for top quality all the time. But is it our modus operandi? Do we take time to dress the way we want to be addressed? Or do we just slap things on us and go? And by our dressing style, we think we look good until we are outdoored with other people globally, continentally, sub-regionally, and then we're like, oh my God, I feel small. I don't feel like I have dressed for the occasion. Dress the way we want to be addressed. If we appear well, we'll be treated well. If we speak well, we'll be responded to well. Intentionality. If our nation is going to progress, way beyond rhetoric, social media rhetoric, WhatsApp groups rhetoric, newspaper rhetoric, lobbying, media groups rhetoric, we must just dress the way we want to be addressed. Ladies and gentlemen, I always tell this story. If somebody is dressed unkempt, hair disheveled, chewing gum, talking slapdash, anyhow, and goes into any institution in this country and says, I'd like to see the managing director, chances are the security at the gate will either tell you a story, if they are nice, walk you out and keep an eye on you. If that same you goes around the corner and changes your dressing, nice dress for a lady, proper suit or African wear, nicely manicured, properly looking good, smelling fine, and carries a briefcase full of stones, and comes and says, good morning, sir. My name is so-and-so. I would like to have an appointment with the chief executive at MD. The treatment will be different. And chances are you might be ushered into the CEO or MD's secretary's office, and probably you might even be offered coffee or tea or something, a newspaper to read, and you might eventually see that person. The same you 10 minutes ago was thrown away. Now you are being ushered in. The same you. You know what is different? The way you appeared. So you're being addressed by the way you dressed. If we're going to be taken seriously globally, if we're going to be taken seriously continentally, if we're going to be taken seriously in big international fora, if we're going to pull our weight even beyond the size of our country, we have to dress nationally the way we want to be addressed. What am I saying? We must be intentional in our planning and in our execution. We must look businesslike. We must look organized. We must look serious. We must look professional. We must be excellent and efficient, and we must be dignified. There are countries like us in this continent. There are some smaller than us. There is an island not too far from here. It has 1/4 of our population. There are other islands. There is the Mauritius. There are other countries. There is Rwanda. There are other countries. If they are able to punch beyond their political and economic weight, it's because they are taken serious, because they take themselves serious first. And I want to end here because in my part 2, I want to tell a story about some people who went to spy a land, and they came back saying that the people that we saw looked like giants and we looked like grasshoppers. And once you don't take yourself serious and work hard to be serious so that you are treated in a serious manner, you dress the way you want to be addressed, things will never go well. King Solomon, ladies and gentlemen, was intentional. These 8 things were intentionally done, so they were intentionally observed by somebody who herself was royalty and knew what class, excellence, dignity, efficiency, quality is. she could recognize it. And I'm sure she took notes that when I go to my kingdom, we have to change here, embellish here, adjust here, and do that. I want to stop here and continue by the grace of God next week with us having a sense of intentionality, our reputation, our character, the perceptions people have about us, and how we appear. Until I come your way next week, by the special grace of God, have a good day, and may God bless and keep our country. God bless. Discover